Hello and welcome to Spectrum News at 12. I am Janice Cobham coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. Let's take a look at the headlines. Federal government gives breakdown of $1.2 million bus fare for Sudan evacuees. Nigeria Labour Congress in Akwa Ibom State urges workers to participate actively in the International Workers' Day event today. Plus, Ukraine officials Dmytro Lubinets says Ukrainians under occupation should accept A very good afternoon to you and many thanks for joining us on the news at 12. First in our bulletin this afternoon is a report that the federal government has given a breakdown of the $1.2 million spent on the bus fare to evacuate stranded Nigerians from war-torn Sudan to Egypt borders on onward airlifting to Nigeria. The Permanent Secretary of the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry and Chair of the Situation Room on Evacuation of Nigerians from Sudan, Nassery, was paid per bus, and 40 buses were procured for the proper evacuation of Nigerian citizens stranded in Sudan. He also explained that the delays experienced by Nigerians at the Egyptian borders to include delays on payment caused by the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) and the request for visa payments by the Egyptian government. Meanwhile, the chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri-Erewa, has said that the mission in Egypt was making arrangements for the payment of visa fees for stranded Nigerians at the border of the country. Dabiri-Erewa, who made this call, said the nationals were not being allowed to cross the border into Egypt since their arrival on Thursday evening. However, giving updates on the stranded Nigerians at the Egypt border, Dabiri-Erewa said the mission has made arrangements to pay $9 per person and $25 visa fees. Recall that the federal government had on Friday called on relevant authorities along contiguous birth destinations.
We're liaising with our embassy in Egypt as well. So we've been able to overcome a number of challenges and have started the process, which we're very happy about. We secured a significant number of luxurious buses because the distances are quite considerable, and so we started the process, and it'll take maybe a couple of days to evacuate. We're liaising with.
In the meantime, the federal government has blamed heavy rainfall and gridlock at the Ministry of Works and Housing at Demola Kuti. Disclosed this in an interview with newsmen. Kuti assured motorists plying the route that the federal government was determined to complete the project but cannot give an exact date due to the weather. From the Red Chambers, Senate has indicted the Bank of Agriculture in Kaduna over a $3.2 billion loan disbursed to 10 vendors to purchase tractors and other equipment for allocation to an accounts committee chaired by Matthew Orogide. Reports say after an investigation by the committee, the management of the bank was indicted for being unable to account for $3.2 billion disbursed to 10 vendors out of the $3.6 billion provided in 2015 by the federal government through the bank. The Senate, after the abduction of the report of the committee, asked for the recovery of $3.2 billion from the 10 vendors. Recall that the Ministry of Agriculture selected the 10 unnamed vendors for the management of the Bank of Agriculture, to which the 3.2 billion naira was a 20-page fact sheet chronicling the high points of President Muhammadu Buhari-led government as it wounds down on May 29. According to a statement signed by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, the fact sheet highlighted the 37 bills signed into law, 12 executive orders, several infrastructure projects, bilateral agreements, fiscal reforms, as well as the appointment and election of eminent Nigerians into the leadership of several global organizations. The fact sheet further highlighted other infrastructural gains in terms of power, roads, healthcare, housing, oil and gas, and digital economy. On infrastructure, Adesina noted that the government has and is still constructing over 961-kilometer stretch of rail lines crisscrossing the nation. It further stated the launch of a new national 5G policy in 2021 and the successful licensing of 2 private companies to roll out 5G nationally, adding that Nigeria's 5G spectrum auction has generated $547 million in license fees. Society Coalition, under the aegis of Citizens Democratic Movement, have urged the country's judiciary, especially Georgia's, of the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court, to help safeguard democracy by doing justice to all the election petitions brought before them. The movement, comprising several civil society and youth organizations, said this in commemoration of the World International Workers' Day marked today. They insisted that the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) had allegedly damaged the country's democracy with poor judgment showing at the just concluded elections. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) in Akwa Ibom State, Sonny James, has urged all workers in the state to come out en masse to participate in the event to mark the International Workers' Day today. The NLC chairman, who gave the charge while speaking with newsmen, said all issues affecting workers in the state would be tabled before the state government at the event. According to him, the NLC had extracted commitments from the incoming governor on prioritizing issues affecting workers in the state. The event, which is currently ongoing, is in celebration of the workers and their numerous contributions to nation building. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Union of Teachers (NUT) in the state have called off the strike they embarked on from April 25, 2023 over alleged non-payment of entitlements of the teachers. In another development, the National Executive Council (NEC) of Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers (NUPENG) has called on the federal government to ensure that the local refineries are put into full operation before an import statement jointly signed by the National President and Secretary NUPENG Williams Okpuraha and Folabi Olawole condemned in totality the anti-union behavior and employment tactics of some indigenous and multinational employers who have turned the Nigerian local content law into ambits of slavery and precarious employment rather than a source of fulfilling employment and empowerment for teeming qualified young Nigerians. The statement explained that the union would no longer condone unwarranted attacks, intimidation and burning of their petroleum trucks while ungenuine and illegal haulage of petroleum products by some security agents, especially among the Nigerian Army Anti-Bunkering Task Force operating in the South-South region of the country. On education, the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board (JAMB) today says it would commence the release of results of the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Board on Tuesday, May 2, 2023. This was contained in the minutes of an emergency management meeting held in Abuja. In the minutes, which was made available to newsmen, the board noted that the delay in the release of results was due to the fact that it wanted to ensure that all necessary screenings were concluded. The examination body also disclosed that 3 categories of candidates who missed the examination had been rescheduled for mop-up examinations. We move now to Africa, where airstrikes have reportedly pounded Sudan's capital, Khartoum, despite a truce aimed at allowing civilians to flee. Our reports say the fighting intensified even as the warring sides said they would extend the truce by another 3 days. According to reports, Army Commander Abdel al-Burhan and Rapid Support Forces (RSF) chief to an extended humanitarian truce, which did not hold after intensive diplomatic efforts by neighboring countries. However, the army said it remains unclear on what they will do in their next stage of the deal with US and Saudi mediations. Meanwhile, the United Nations World Food Programme (WFP) says it will immediately lift the suspension of its operations in Sudan that was put in place after the tragic death of its team members. The executive director of WFP, Cindy McCain, on Twitter said the organization is temporarily halted all operations in Sudan after 3 of its employees were reportedly killed in clashes between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces (RSF). On the foreign scene now, Ukraine's Human Rights Commissioner Dmytro Lubinets has advised Ukrainians living under Russian occupation to accept Russian passports for their safety. Dmytro Lubinets made this known in an interview with newsmen, noting that citizens who obtain a Russian passport will be able to officially return it and live a normal life once Ukraine takes back its territories. According to Lubinets, a decree signed by Russian President Vladimir at legalizing forced passportization that takes place on the territories under Russian occupation. And still on the foreign scene now, Ukraine, the second pre-dawn attack in 3 days. In a statement, Sahil Sak said the missiles hit a residential area in the city of Pavlograd, damaging homes, schools, and stores. He noted that at least 25 people, including 3 children, were injured in attacks in Dnipropetrovsk. Meanwhile, Ukraine's air defense forces said it had earlier intercepted 15 of 18 Russian cruise missiles fired at the country. And still to come in the news, Manchester City beats Fulham to return to top in EPL. Do stay with us. Many thanks for still being there. Now to the rest of our stories, beginning from the business scene. And business news now, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has dismissed reports that it is considering the withdrawal of the redesigned 200, 500 and 1,000 naira notes from circulation. The Apex Bank's acting director of corporate communication, Isa Abdumumimas, in a statement described the report as unfounded speculation, noting that there is no plan to phase out the 3 newly redesigned 1,000 naira, 500 and 200 naira currency banknotes from circulation. Meanwhile, the total amount of demand deposits has reportedly dropped by 210 billion naira between January and March 2023 as Nigerians make huge withdrawals from deposit money banks. Data from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, showed the demand deposits dropped from 20.12 trillion naira in January 2023 to 19.91 trillion naira by March. According to the Corporate Finance Institute, demand deposit is money deposited into a bank account with funds that can be withdrawn on demand at any time. It noted that The depositor would typically use demand deposit funds to pay everyday expenses. Moving on to health, a nutrition and public health specialist, chronic diseases like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, liver, and endometrial cancer, Oluyede, who is also the former Director of Nutrition Services in Osun State, noted that consuming sweetened beverages can cause chronic, low-grade inflammation and turn into a silent killer that contributes to cardiovascular disease. He said this while reacting to findings from new research which suggested that consuming coffee, water, and tea can help reduce the risk of early death for adults with diabetes. According to Dr. Oluyede, studies have shown that coffee drinkers live longer and are linked to lower risk of death from all causes, and it could especially prevent chronic diseases including type 2 diabetes, heart disease, liver and endometrial cancer, Parkinson's disease, and depression. He advised people to take 3 to 4 cups, but not more than 400 milligrams consumption of caffeine. And still in health, child health and nutrition experts have said that feeding children less than 5 years with fruit juice laden with excess sugar may predispose them to risk of developing heart disease, hypertension, and type 2 diabetes. According to them, many of the fruit juices sold in markets are packed with sugar, including those with claims of no sugar or additives added. The expert noted that lots of children consuming sugary drinks indiscriminately are coming down with obesity, a known factor that predisposes people to other major non-communicable diseases that were once associated with only adults. Meanwhile, a consultant pediatric hematologist and oncologist at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Idiaraba, Edemisan Temiyi, said sugary drinks promote obesity in children. Speaking further, Temiyi said some obesity in adults can be traced to childhood obesity, urging mothers to feed their children with food and drinks that have high nutritional benefits and not junks. As Erling Haaland scored his 50th goal of the season in all competition. Haaland converted a third-minute penalty after Julian Alvarez had been fouled by Team Rem to become the first top-flight player to reach a half-century of goals in one campaign since Top Pungal Waring did so for Aston Villa in 1931. The Norwegian striker also moved level for most goals in a Premier League season, matching the 34 goals Andy Cole scored for Newcastle in 1993 and 1994, and the same amount Alan Shearer registered for Blackburn a year later. However, Fulham grabbed a 15-minute equalizer with their first attempt of the match as Carlos Vinicius powerfully shot past Edison after Harry Wilson had headed the ball into his path. The host could not hang on to record what might have been a remarkable result. Jack Grealish had an effort pushed on to the crossbar for Manchester City, who regained their lead in the 36th minute through Alvarez's superb. Now, Bruno Fernandes was on target as Manchester United beats in-form Aston Villa 1-0 to strengthen their push for top 4 Premier League finals. The Portugal international scored shortly before halftime to settle fans' nerves at Old Trafford and lift United 9 points clear of 5th place Tottenham. Aston Villa boss Unai Emery named an unchanged side after 8 wins and 2 draws in 10 league games. Meanwhile, United enjoyed the bulk of possession in the first half, and midfielder Casemiro hit the crossbar with a right-footed after Emiliano Martinez had pushed away a low Marcus Rashford strike. The goal was given the green light after a VAR review. On entertainment now, award-winning Nigerian singer Tiwa Savage is billed to perform at the historical coronation of the British monarch King Charles III. Tiwa Savage will be joining celebrities such as Steve Winwood, DJ Pete Tong, Lang Lang, Lucy, Paloma Faith and Oli Mars to thrill guests at the coronation concert. Reports say she is the first and only Nigerian artist to receive an invitation to perform at a foreign royal coronation ceremony. King Charles III, who is ascending the throne following the passing of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II last year, will officially be coronated alongside Queen Consort Sunday, May 7, 2023. Many congratulations there to Dr. Tiwa Savage. And still on entertainment, popular Nigerian actress and media personality Nancy Isime has been conferred with an honorary doctorate degree in arts and philosophy by Powers University, Delaware, USA. The multi-talented thespian took to her Instagram page to announce the good news to her fans. She also revealed that she was awarded the Lead Time Africa Leadership Prize for quality service delivery and professionalism. While congratulating her fellow awardees, she prayed to God to grant every one of them wisdom and strength to continually excel and be good examples in their respective fields and career. That's all we have for you at this time. Follow us on all our social media platforms and do ensure to subscribe to your YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website at spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 12. My name is Janice Cobham. Do have a good afternoon.